Hi, my name is Caroline Gabo. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Junko. Junko is a financial portal that helps consumers to find the best fitting financial products in a radically simple way. Junko is actually a company that was founded by Findeep. Findeep is the largest fintech ecosystem in Europe by now. We started round about 5.5 years ago as a company builder for digital financial companies in the space of banking, insurance, and asset management. By now, we have developed, founded, invested in 20 fintechs. We have 10 active companies in the portfolio. And I think it's fair to say that Findeep's ecosystem represents very, very successful business models, digital fintech business models in the German ecosystem. So, for example, Solaris Bank, a white label bank, the first technology bank ever having a full digital banking license, is now offering its digital banking services and products all over Europe to either established financial services companies, other fintechs, or other industries. Clark, a digital broker model offering consumers a wallet for all their insurances, has developed quite significantly in the last couple of years, now expanding to other geographies like Austria, and many, many other players in the ecosystem of Findeep that prove that financial services can be fully digital, and Europe is a place where financial services stays competitive throughout the following years. When we look into the current crisis situation of COVID-19, what we found is that the acceleration of digitization has become even more important to established financial services players, but as well new players. And Findeep offers here, especially with Findeep Connect, a full suite of digital software solutions that enable banks, insurers, many other players that want to offer digital financial services to consumers or enterprises, a full suite that can be easily integrated and offered to their customers right away. Through the cost pressures that have even increased on banks, insurers in the crisis, I think we see that especially established players are now thinking more and more about outsourcing and partnering up with existing solution providers, other than before where the value chain almost was fully played by the established player. The value chains are now breaking off and you find specialists per each value chain step. So this is something we're seeing very much. I think when we think about Europe staying competitive in the financial services environment, we have to speed things up significantly. Scale plays a large role in our industry. If we don't have homogeneous regulations and processes across the industry and across the different European countries, it's actually hard to create players that would be able to be competitive to players that come from the US or China or Asia in particular. So this is something we all should together work on, that we create these players that are able to integrate their financial services products into the ecosystems of the future. Because when you look ahead in the next couple of years, I would assume we have only a few digital platforms consumers or enterprises manage their everyday life. And the probability that one of these platforms come from one of the existing financial services players in Europe is already quite low. So we all should work together to create these platforms that are compliant with the existing European data privacy standards and would guarantee the security of our money and data in the future. So let's all work together and create the financial digital ecosystem of the future. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me to share about the Singapore Fintech Association. It is a cross-industry, not-for-profit organization established to benefit our members from full range of Singapore Fintech's ecosystem. Our vision is simple but ambitious. We want to make Singapore a leader in Fintech innovation and investment. We do this by facilitating collaboration among participants and stakeholders to provide access to talent, capital, and markets for our members. In this COVID-19 crisis, it did affect our business in Singapore, and we did a survey of our fintech. 47.8% of the respondents feel that COVID-19 has had a significant impact on their business. 67% of the fintech interviewed indicated they need urgent working capital to tide over this period. Funding into fintech has slowed down as VCs re-evaluate and focus on existing portfolio. Coupled with the fact there is no face-to-face meetings, challenge to follow up with pipelines poses a huge challenge as well. Industry, community, and government rallied behind fintech by implementing timely and purposeful measures to help the companies. Measures that is specific to fintechs are: there's a 125 million support package by MAS to support the financial and fintech industry. MAS is our Monetary Authority of Singapore. Then there is the MAS SFA AMTD Solidarity Grant Fund. We have also industry partnerships with Razer and AMTD, where there is an investment fund by Razer of US 50 million and AMTD of Sing dollar 50 million. There is also fintech support launch of one-stop portal for fintech, where there is grants and job portals for our members to look at and to activate. We also facilitate business growth for fintech through the APICS and the APICS Cares. Besides that, we introduce fintech certification to ensure that the fintechs are validly certified before they can get these grants, and also for other purposes. There is also a fintech service providers readiness framework that we facilitate the outsourcing relationship between FIs and fintechs. Personally, through this COVID, I learned to adapt and have an outward mindset. Specifically, we prepare, position, and progress. And it is my view that we don't just do nothing as leaders, but do something. Transformation is a key as we continue to operate on what we have and what we can't. COVID-19 changes the way businesses are done, as it changes a lot of our mindset. People are willing to collaborate more as compared to pre-COVID times, and I try to make use of that to help our businesses. The pandemic has taught us to come together as one, to collaborate and make businesses work, given that we are all in the same boat in this current situation. Think positively and don't stop looking out for any opportunities ahead. The strong point of our fintech in our country is because there is a good ecosystem of collaboration, coupled with very strong government support, in particular the Monetary Authority of Singapore, the MAS, and a vibrant ecosystem where there's players, partners, and fintechs that try to work together. And this bodes very well for the fintech industry in Singapore.
Hi, I'm Tim from Friendsurance, speaking to you from the beautiful Telemark in Norway, but usually located in Berlin, Germany. Who are we and what do we do? Insurance started out 10 years ago as what you would call today an insurtech. We were globally the first ones to introduce a peer-to-peer concept to insurance. And from that, developed a digital insurance platform which allows consumers to manage their insurance end to end. And since 2017, we offer this platform to big partners such as banks and insurers, so that they in turn can offer their customers to manage their insurance digitally. We work with big partners such as R&V or, for example, also Deutsche Bank, where today customers of Deutsche Bank can manage their insurance directly from their Deutsche Bank bank account. How did the COVID-19 crisis affect our business? Operationally, fortunately, there was very little impact. Of course, the larger share of the organization worked from home, but we had already been accustomed to working with both team partners, especially in Eastern Europe, as well as business partners such as Deutsche Bank or R&V, remotely in Frankfurt, Wiesbaden, Munich, and other places. So that we were quite used to working with video conferences, using Confluence and other knowledge sharing systems, Slack, of course, as well. So that actually work continued as before, and strategically, COVID strengthened our case for digitization of bank assurance and insurance in general, so that we were also able to secure new funding through a credit shelf and are going strong. How did we grow stronger in the crisis as a business? As mentioned, strategically, COVID was a push for us because digitization, especially in bank assurance, but insurance in general, is becoming even more important than it was before. There's more urgency to do something, and many partners rely on us to get the speed, but also the quality that they need. But then I think a very important other effect was that we learned to take care of each other even more than before as an organization, as a team. So the team spirit increased, the flexibility both from us as an employer as well as our employees increased. People really tried to make it work, and that created a very, very dynamic and positive spirit that we carry on with till this day, and I hope we can continue with into the future. How did I personally grow stronger in the crisis as a leader? Well, I hope that I was fairly formed as a leader before, but of course there were new challenges or challenges that were more emphasized than before. Most important aspect I think was that nobody really knew what was gonna happen in the future. Nobody knew how things were going to develop, so it was a lot of uncertainty, and I think one very important aspect was to nonetheless give some guidance and provide some clarity and some ease to the team, to give them confidence that we can manage the crisis together, to get in touch with them more actively through digital channels, to really be close to them, even though you're not in the same office, you're not in the same location. I'm hoping that worked quite well. I think the mood is good. At least all the HR surveys that we do indicate that people actually were quite effective. They were quite productive and actually also doing well. Of course, there were some bigger individual issues that we tried to resolve together. What are the strong points of fintech in our country, in the German market? I think it's a strong ecosystem because there's many players actively trying to shape the market. It's well distributed, as Germany is a quite federal, a decentralized country, so it's not all happening in one place, and that I think creates a very healthy competition, a competition where the different market participants push each other, but they do so with respect, and they do so with a certain fair play, which I think helps everybody really get better together, to the benefit of the market, to the benefit of the consumer. And I think that's a very healthy, very positive dynamic that I observe in the German market. That's it. I hope to speak to you virtually, remotely, but also to meet you in person at some point in the future. Take care. This was Tim from Finsurance. Bye bye.
Hi, my name's Georgia, and I'm the CEO of Tomello. Tomello is an impact-focused financial technology firm. We're based in Bristol in the UK. Our mission is to enable retail investors and pension members to create and benefit from a more sustainable investment system. So we do this by partnering with investment firms and pension providers, enabling them to provide their customers with transparency over the companies they own and a shareholder voice on issues that they really care about, like gender equality or climate change. Our solution is white label. It's software delivered via a platform or APIs. And our software integrates with these investment platforms and pension providers, improving their customer engagement, their acquisition potential, and their retention figures, ultimately improving their assets under management. So in terms of how COVID-19 has affected our business, I guess we weren't sure initially what was going to happen. We worried that it might slow down our sales cycles or affect our ability to win new business. But in reality, COVID has really accelerated the adoption of digital services in investment system, but in pensions specifically, where it's really lagging behind other sectors, especially in terms of member communication and personalization, which are aspects that Tomello really supports providers to improve. And now more than ever, consumers are focused on how they can make a difference in the world, whether that's on issues like climate change or increasingly healthcare and workplace conditions. Big corporates are really under the spotlight, and they're being analysed for how they're protecting their workers and how they're making decisions in this time of crisis. And what our software does is it helps retail investors and pension members to really have a say on those issues, because they have shares invested in those companies and they should have a voice as a shareholder. In terms of, I guess, the UK fintech market, we've been recognised as the best place in the world to start and grow a fintech firm. I think we have over 1,600 new fintech firms, and estimates suggest that's going to double by 2030. And when it comes to consumers, we have a 42% adoption rate. So that's higher than the global average of 33%. So the people on the streets in the UK are willing to pick up and test our products and are really pushing us as firms to innovate and keep building products that they want to use on a daily basis to help them with their personal finances, their investments, their payments, whatever that might be. We're also helped in the UK by the regulatory environment. We have a sandbox here, and the regulator is really open to innovation. And the fact that our incumbent financial services providers are also open to fintech partnerships. So I think it's something like 82% of incumbents who are expecting to increase their fintech partnerships over the next 3 years, which is great for companies like us who really rely on those types of relationships to do sales, to build partnerships, and to scale our user base of retail investors and pension members. So I guess the last thing to say in terms of COVID is that on an operational note, virtual recruitment has been interesting and quite difficult, but at the end it's been pretty successful. And having mastered the relevant working from home technologies, we're really looking forward to having a more flexible culture going forward, to having a more inclusive workplace and being able to hire people from different parts of the world and with different skill sets in different cities. And COVID has really, I guess, benefited us from that perspective to make us be a bit more open-minded on those issues. In general, I think COVID has required a greater level of empathy and humanity from leaders across all sectors, but especially in fintech, where I think traditionally leadership or the companies themselves has been seen as a more male, macho environment. So it's been really good to see that level of empathy and humanity brought into the fintech space, which is maybe slightly atypical. So yeah, that's all from me. Enjoy the fintech fair.